Okay, so this is the second video in my series of stuff I hate that's popular. I dislike a lot of stuff that gets really popular just because it's overexposed and it gets referenced too many times, or too many people talk about it, and it just gets really annoying. That's another one of the reasons I don't like the Marvel movies, another one of the reasons I don't like Disney, and I don't like Spongebob for not just because it was popular and it got annoying to hear people reference it constantly and talk about it, but also I just didn't like it. As I alluded to in my previous video, I grew up more enjoying Cartoon Network than Disney or Nickelodeon. I don't like the more childish cartoons that are very obnoxious, loud, and that have really annoying fucking characters and just a lot of that shit. My favorite cartoon, for instance, when I was a kid was Ed, Edd n Eddy. It's a very reserved, very down-to-earth show. It goes overboard in certain areas, of course, because it's a cartoon, but it still was always just about three people trying to make money to get candy and stuff, and it's very reserved compared to something like SpongeBob, which has obnoxious, loud main character and over-the-top humor and a lot of gross-out shit, and just wasn't something I enjoyed. Not that Cartoon Network never had anything that was like that. It certainly did, and I can talk about that another time, but I did prefer Cartoon Network to most of the other stuff, because in the late 90s and early 2000s, they did have a lot of more reserved stuff. They didn't have the crazy, loud, obnoxious, arm-flailing bullshit like they started doing in 2010 when they got Adventure Time and stuff like that. And that's, I guess, another reason I dislike SpongeBob, is because its popularity kind of set the standard. And though for a while, up till 2007, Cartoon Network had its own identity, around 2007 it definitely started to try to change itself to be a lot more like Nickelodeon. And in particular, it wanted its cartoons to be more like SpongeBob. And I guess that's another contributing reason as to why I dislike it, because its popularity just ended up, in my opinion, destroying Cartoon Network. But that's a directing thing, that's a managerial thing. I don't want it to seem like that's the only reason, because that's a little conspiratorial. And I do have a conspiracy theory about SpongeBob, but I'll talk about that at the end. So I didn't hate all of SpongeBob. When I was a little kid, I did used to watch it with my father. He would put on Nickelodeon. And I did enjoy some of it. And I did enjoy some of SpongeBob. And around 2006 or 2008, though I didn't enjoy SpongeBob and didn't want to watch it, it got referenced so much in school and talked about so much that I felt like I needed to be a part of the conversation. And I don't normally go out of my way to watch something I don't want to watch, but I did decide to watch all of SpongeBob up to that point, because it was always on in the mornings before school, so I'd always watch 2 episodes before school. And I kind of, I watched all the episodes up to that point, so I could understand the references and stuff. And still, like, I enjoyed a handful of the episodes. Rock Bottom, the chocolate episode, the episode where Patrick keeps going to sleep and screaming spiders and shit. The episode with the guy that they think is a zombie. There was that handful of episodes that I liked, but still the majority of them I did not care for. I just didn't get the humor, didn't like it, didn't like SpongeBob as a character, didn't enjoy any of that shit. I was very much a Cartoon Network person. Another reason, since I've gotten older and I look back on SpongeBob, another thing that I dislike about it is it seems, and this is going to be connected to the conspiracy theory thing I'm getting into later, so I'll expand on this idea later. But it seems to me that SpongeBob celebrates mediocrity as a concept. And what I mean by that is SpongeBob works at a fast food restaurant as a fast food practitioner, right? I don't know if practitioner is the right word, but he, is an employee at a restaurant, but he very much seems to be doing fast food shit in the back rather than proper restaurant work. He makes hamburgers and fries and shit. And, you might say, well, what's the problem with that? Again, I'll expand on that later. Right now, I'm just explaining this as a thing I dislike. Because SpongeBob seems to celebrate that lifestyle. And he's beyond happy to be in that position as a fast food person. And that's celebrated and put in a positive light, while Squidward's put in a negative light as the person who hates his job and wants to do something else. And even is going for a musical career, but that is shown to be something beyond his grasp. And I don't like that because I've never liked the idea of mediocrity. I always wanted to, again, be an entertainer myself and strive for more. And so that is another reason probably that I wasn't aware of as a kid, but another thing that I probably subconsciously disliked, and certainly I'm aware of it now. And again, I'll get more into that at the end of the video when I get into my little conspiracy theory thing about SpongeBob. One thing I did want to talk about, I don't understand its popularity, but I think I might get it. I don't think SpongeBob as a thing does anything that, as a cartoon, does anything particularly unique to speak to children. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe someone does have a breakdown as to why it was popular, but it doesn't appear to me that it has anything going for it that other cartoons didn't. What I think happened is Nickelodeon obviously blew up in like the mid-90s as far as I'm aware. And again, I was born in 1997, so I missed that whole run with Ren and Stimpy and Hey Arnold and Cat Dog and all the other bullshit that they had on. And I've never tried to watch any of it just because I don't care to. I don't like that type of humor. But I think what happened is that because that was like the dedicated cartoons of that time, a lot of people were watching Nickelodeon at that time. And so when it came to late 90s and early 2000s, everyone was predisposed to be like, well, kids watch Nickelodeon, so I'll put on Nickelodeon. And obviously SpongeBob, as well as the Fairly Odd Parents and some other shit, was on at that time. And I think that's why SpongeBob blew up in popularity, just because that's what everyone was being presented with. Even today, people will have kids still watch SpongeBob because they're like, well, kids like SpongeBob. And I think that's more of a thing that people are predisposed to think, and children are just kind of presented that rather than that anyone actually gravitates toward it or enjoys it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe SpongeBob does have particularly good writing in some areas. I don't think so, because again, it never spoke to me as a kid. But I also wasn't typical. I grew up with unrestrained access pretty much to entertainment. Again, my favorite movie is Starship Troopers. I played Quake 3 Arena all the time. I watched Dragon Ball Z. I watched a lot of violent shit. And I enjoyed violent media, so that could be another reason why. I don't know. But I think it's more that people were just presented with SpongeBob because people assumed that everyone would like it, rather than that SpongeBob did anything in particular unique with its writing. That's my opinion. I don't know. But that just seems to be what it is to me, is if you present kids with something, they're going to be predisposed to like it, rather than that it is necessarily well-made. I don't want to go off too much on talking about what I do like, because that can be a whole other thing. My history of Cartoon Network would deserve a fucking 40-minute video at least. So I think I've said everything I had to say on that. I don't know if I can expand more on why I think SpongeBob is obnoxious or annoying. That is kind of obvious. It's just loud and bombastic and just... I don't like it. I never did. I laughed at very little of it and just found the majority of the time I didn't enjoy it. And I just felt like making this video because, again, I've never heard anyone express that sentiment. Most people seem to enjoy it. And they reference it and all of that shit. So, I guess I'll get into my little SpongeBob conspiracy theory, because that's fun. So, why do I say SpongeBob celebrated, or, not celebrates, it glorifies mediocrity. That's the word, glorifies mediocrity. Okay, again, SpongeBob is put in a good light being a fast food worker. Squidward, who hates his job and wants to do something better and elevate his lifestyle, is put in a negative light and shown to be a failure, and it's very crude. SpongeBob's best friend is Patrick, and he lives under a rock, literally lives under a rock, and is unemployed as a bum. And compared to him, SpongeBob looks fucking like he's got the lifestyle, right? Compared to the guy who lives under the rock. And SpongeBob loves his job, as opposed to Squidward. He's not a miserable prick. SpongeBob's boss is a fucking selfish asshole that hoards money. That's pretty common to see, isn't it? These are all very common things to see. If you work in fast food, you probably know someone who's worse off than you. Almost practically homeless that live under a rock, and someone who hates their job and wants to do something better but is always failing. And you likely would have a boss that's a greedy asshole that hoards money and doesn't pay you well. But it's okay, because as long as you love your fucking shitty fast food job, then life's great. And that, I'm not going to treat this like a serious thing, but I can make an argument that that is a very manipulative thing. That SpongeBob, I don't know why it was popular, but its popularity is being exploited to predispose children to be satisfied with a lifestyle of mediocrity, of a lifestyle of being in fast food and having people like that around you. Because these are, again, representations of people you will meet living a normal lifestyle, a mediocre lifestyle, a mundane lifestyle. And again, that's something I've always disliked, and that's, if that is true, that SpongeBob is a glorification of mediocrity. I'm not saying it necessarily is. That would certainly explain to me why I dislike it so much. And I don't know if that was even a conscious thing, and I'm not going to say it is, because it certainly paints it in a more negative light than I want to. But you could definitely argue that the connection is there, that it is absolutely a glorification of mediocrity. But, again, that's just a conspiracy theory I came up with. I'm not going to sit here and try and posit that that is accurate, although to me, I certainly think SpongeBob, whether intentional or not, does try to glorify mediocrity. I think that's all I had to say on that. Never liked it. Didn't understand why other people did. I understood why people found a handful of things entertaining, but overall I thought it was a bad show. Didn't enjoy it. Thought it was obnoxious. And I don't know why it was ever popular. I don't know why it got so popular, but it did. I don't know what I'm going to cover next. I only had really the idea to bitch about Disney and then SpongeBob. The CW. Now we'll talk about that. Okay, well this. I might make another. If I can't think of anything else to bitch about, then I'll make just another video talking about topics I can cover, I guess. I don't want to put that at the end of this video because that kind of fucks up the ending. So, goodbye.